From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, September the 26th, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with the Democratic and Republican presidential candidates in New York yesterday. Netanyahu had a sit-down with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump at the end of his trip to the U.S. for the United Nations General Assembly. The Prime Minister tweeted today that after meeting with the two leading candidates for POTUS, I'm more convinced than ever that the Israel-U.S. bond will remain strong after the elections. Netanyahu spoke at the UNGA on Thursday. He later spoke at the Hudson Institute, a policy research organization in New York, and accepted their Herman Kahn Award for 2016. Netanyahu headed back to Israel today. Israeli security forces uncovered stockpiles of weapons as well as gun manufacturing workshops in the West Bank early this morning. According to the IDF, the workshops were discovered and shut down in 3 West Bank towns during a large-scale operation. Weapons were also seized and several people were arrested in connection to the confiscated arms. French news agency AFP reports that the trial of 2 suspects connected to a deadly bombing attack in Burgas, Bulgaria 4 years ago has been postponed. The trial was supposed to begin today. However, the court failed to inform the victims' families of the start date, and therefore the trial has been pushed back. If you recall, on July the 18th of 2012, a suicide bomber identified as Mohammed Hassan el-Husseini, a French-Lebanese national, blew himself up on a bus full of Israeli tourists who had just arrived in the coastal town. 5 Israelis and their Bulgarian bus driver were killed in the attack, and 35 were injured. El-Husseini was killed as well. The trial is for his 2 accomplices, Lebanese-Australian citizen Meliad Farah and Canadian Hassan El-Haj Hassan, both said to have links to Lebanese terror group Hezbollah. Farah and El-Haj Hassan are still on the run and are being tried in absentia on terrorism and document fraud charges. The trial will now commence on November the 10th. Israel has signed a multi-billion-dollar deal with Jordan. The Leviathan Consortium, the conglomerate that owns the Leviathan gas field off of Israel's coast, announced the $10 billion deal, which was signed yesterday. It will supply natural gas to the Jordanian National Electric Power Company for the next 15 years. It makes Israel Jordan's largest gas supplier. Israel's Minister of Energy Yuval Steinitz called the deal an extremely important national achievement. Steinitz was quoted by Israel's Channel 10 today as saying, "This is an important milestone in strengthening the ties and strategic partnerships between Israel and Jordan and the entire region." A resolution that prevents companies that boycott or discriminate against any sovereign country, including Israel, from doing business with California was signed into law this weekend by the Golden State's Governor Jerry Brown. Brown signed Assembly Bill number 2844 on Saturday. We reported to you last month that the bill had been approved by California's State Senate and State Assembly in August. The American Jewish Committee's Los Angeles Regional Director Jana Weinstein-Smith commended the governor. She said the bill sends the clear and unmistakable message that the state of California wants no part of the goals and tactics of the BDS, referring to the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. She said thanks to this legislation, those who wish to target Jews and Israelis for discrimination will not be doing business with the state of California. And for the first time ever, Israel will compete in the World Baseball Classic. Yesterday, Israel became the final team to qualify for next year's tournament in a game with Great Britain at a qualifying match at MCU Park in Brooklyn, New York. The so-called World Cup of Baseball will take place in South Korea in March of 2017. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, September the 26th. At 7 o'clock, the wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer. At 7:30, Shachar Azani speaks with Mazal Renford about Israel's role in the developing world on Eye on Israel. At 8 o'clock, a panel discussion on the Middle East with Kenneth Bialkin, Representative Ed Royce, Malcolm Hoenlein, Richard Stone, Stephen Greenberg, and moderator Lali Weymouth from the Jewish Center of the Hamptons. At 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with editor-in-chief of the Jewish Daily Forward, Jane Eisner, on L'chaim, and at 10, noted philosopher, mystic, and author Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz speaks at the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, CEO of the American Jewish Committee David Harris discusses some surprising finds of the AJC survey of Jewish opinion and discusses the BDS movement and Black Lives Matter on tonight's In the News. And a programming note for you that JBS will be televising live Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services again this year from Central Synagogue in New York City, beginning Sunday evening, October the 2nd at 8 o'clock. You can find more information on our website, jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, September the 26th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.